Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to me to have another episode of TBD Talk by Tennis One at Segal Institute, one of the great leaders and innovators in tennis. Hi, how are you, Cesar Andrade?
Fernando, how are you? Thank you for having me here. This is a great program.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure for us to have you in a new episode about TBD Talk. Let me introduce Cesar for all our audience. Cesar is the founder and chief software architect of TennisAppSuite, a former executive at many different kind of multinational companies like NCR, AT&T, Harris, and actually also is the CEO of Terra Consortium, which is a company which is developing business software and different design and architect for many clients around the world. It's a privilege for us. He's the founder and CEO of TennisAppSuite, a very powerful resource for clubs, academy, and general tennis organization. Thank you to be with us, Cesar.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let me ask you, because it's a very important resource that we will have talking in the episode. Let me ask you about what it means to bring innovation to tennis through TennisAppSuite.
Well, first of all, again, thank you for letting us participate in this great TBD program. What it means is basically everyone has been talking lately, and perhaps forever, but lately it's been louder and louder, the issue of needing higher participation to generate more revenue on part of tennis providers. And on the other side of the coin, tennis players seem to be almost like abandoning tennis clubs, tennis organizations, because it's so difficult to get people to play with it. Tennis is one of those sports that it's very finicky. You need to have people with the right schedule, with the right level of competition. So it becomes difficult to find people to play with. So participation is really in direct proportion to how visible are other players, how easily you can engage with them. I felt for a while that we needed something like Airbnb or Uber. These are apps that make visible what is previously invisible, whether it be rooms to stay for a night or a ride if you're needing transportation. And also, one of the issues that we're faced with is tennis providers are just not making enough money to really promote and devote themselves to increased participation. So those are the issues that I saw as a tennis player, as a club amateur tennis player. And because I'm a software designer and I've done I've taken this kind of challenges before in other industries, I felt that something needed to be done. And that's where I think TennisAppSuite came to be.
And it's very important. Can you show you, because you have like a presentation video that people can watch previously to make the next question, because it's related with the importance that you are doing.
Sure, let me share my screen, and I will set them here, share, and I will do that. Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Introducing the TennisAppSuite, the all-in-one digital assistant for your tennis business needs. With state-of-the-art real-time on-court scorekeeping, draws and stats, the TennisAppSuite is designed for logistics, data management and communications, so you can run your league, tournament, ladder or charity event like a star and deliver more tennis with less work. Create your own virtual tennis club. Manage your club and grow your tennis community with TennisAppSuite's robust capabilities. Search and book courts and tennis lessons within your area. Find and engage with new tennis players in your town. TennisAppSuite serves it all. Not only does TennisAppSuite allow you to create tennis events, it empowers the monetization of your tennis business services. Generate sales through your own pro shop online and offer advertising to local sponsors. TennisAppSuite is a multilingual global solution to your tennis business needs and is scalable worldwide. Discover what the TennisAppSuite can do for you. For more information, check us out at tennisappsuite.com.
Very good video. It's very interesting because to create a customer culture centered, this is one of the main purposes of TBD. Let me ask you, before to keep asking about TennisAppSuite and how was the process. You are bringing new ideas, new projects to tennis. How was your entrepreneurial career during those years?
Thank you for asking about that, because really it's where a lot of the expertise and experience came from. I spent better part of the last few decades actually in the international business computing technology space. That's kind of a mouthful. But I, over the years, have helped many governments and business organizations to basically to optimize their human resources. At the end of the day, technology in business needs to augment, optimize the capabilities of the people that are already there. So that's what I have been doing as a software architect, as a software marketing leader, helping companies avoid human redundancy, inefficiencies, etc. At the same time that I was building my software computing business career, I also became a club tennis player. I should call myself a hacker because I don't know how well I can play, but I love the sport. And one of the things about tennis is you always think that you can do a little bit better the next time. So I joined ladders, leagues, and tournaments, but I could not notice but to help that in tennis, there's an awful lot of inefficiencies. People are not using technology to manage the sport of tennis, the events, the getting people together. Most events are the results of complex manual work and logistics. So there had to be a better way. I thought maybe somebody was going to do it, but at the end of the day, it looked like it was not getting done. So I decided to go ahead and take on that opportunity with that experience and with that vision in mind.
And very interesting because, of course, you dedicate a lot of time, efforts, and thoughts to create your software, not your app. And it's very related what happened in tennis because 95% of the clubs for all over the world are using only a paper in some way, a membership card to book the court, to understand without to understand the customer, without to do a very extensive research how to attend. That's why I want to ask you, how was to create with your team working to create TennisAppSuite? How was that journey?
That's a very interesting question as well. It's interesting when you were mentioning about is it 95% of clubs still doing things manually. I still play in a club where we play leagues, and I come in to the front desk, and there's a little piece of paper, handwritten, with all the player and court assignments, and this is where we write down our scores. And then somebody takes that piece of paper and puts it in another piece of paper, and eventually somebody gets it into a spreadsheet. It is just a tremendous use of human resources just to get a little league match, recorded and going. So, and interestingly, I wrote about that 2017, a little article that I wrote in Tennis Business News. Your friend Rick Nair publishes that, and I wrote in 2017. I remember because it was like I was thinking at that time, how is it possible that so many things are still being done manually? So the title of my article was "Kicking and Screaming." Tennis is coming into technology, kicking and screaming. And I'll give you one good example. After Mr. Hawkins developed the Skyhawk, right? It took another 7 years of the technology being available for the powers in the major world tournaments to say, all right, we're going to use the Hawkeye. 7 years. Can you imagine that? Look at all the arguments and all the discussions and fights, that McEnroe had.
Yeah.
Everybody else. But and make a long story short, with my love of tennis and my son Marco became a tennis player. He became a varsity high school player. And together he and I joined 12, 13 years ago, began joining father-son tournaments here in the Southern California area. And pretty soon, because of our enthusiasm, etc., people were asking us, why don't you guys organize a family team league program?
Uh-huh.
And, suckers that we were, said, all right, we will do it. So we organized the family team tennis program. And what it meant is to bring father, son, mother, daughter, related people, and get them together and over a weekend play some matches. We just did it because we were asked to do, but we were wildly successful. We got the support of the Southern California USDA. They adopted us as a community tennis association, and by reference, we got in front of Billie Jean King and Elaine Mast, who said to us, "Why don't you make this a world team tennis program?" And I said, "Yes, we would love to do that." And so we were even more successful. But that success was our downfall. Why? We just could not keep up with the paperwork, with the phone calling, with the shepherding people, the logistics, the organizing of people during the matches and events. It became such a laborious thing to do that we just couldn't do it. We couldn't handle it anymore. And me, a software architect, I'm going, there's gotta be a better way to do this, right? And that's when I started designing, a tournament management application. It needed to have some court reservations into it. It needed to have a database for players to log in their ranking and their availability and things like that. It grew into what TennisAppSuite is today.
It's very, very good, very interesting. And which kind of opportunity do you see for users of TennisAppSuite on tennis today? Because it's very important today in tennis, create growth, how they can use to their advantage.
Well, it's interesting you should mention that. You probably recall that the 2021 ITF World Conference theme was innovating to drive participation. So it was great to see the ITF actually embracing technology and having a virtual event. Your own friend, Craig Tilley from Australia, said that one of our problems is retention. And then I've been watching, by the way, your interviews, and then Dave Miley talks about the survey that they did to see why is it that tennis players are abandoning tennis. And one of the things that they're not finding is that it does not suit them, right? Suit them. That's a difficult word in English. Anyway, and this is really the same conclusion that I had reached earlier. It is difficult to participate for a multitude of reasons. And I'll tell you one of the reasons that I felt in my own, flesh and blood. For me, it is embarrassing to ask people to play. I'm always afraid they're going to say, no, go away. You're not at my level. I don't even know you. So it's difficult to get people to play with you. So one of the things I immediately thought that TennisAppSuite should do is create a list of players, a database that have said, I am a level 3 or level 4. I'm willing to play one level up, one level down. And my time availability is I can play on Fridays from 6 to 8, Saturdays from 9 to 12. So now I go into the database and I find people that have my same parameters, and they have already checked that they will accept my invitation. So no cringe factor, no embarrassment. So you're kind of entitled to ask people to play with you. They're not doing you a favor. You're now part of a community of people that are glad to play and find each other and play with each other. This is what I've always wanted, and this is what I think most players want. And so those are the opportunities. On the other hand, I believe, and I have observed and watched very dedicated tennis providers that are just not making enough money for the work that they do. And what happens is, if you're a tennis provider, particularly a teaching pro, you only make money when you're in front of the other players on the court. Once those players leave the court, you're not making any more money. So our concept was to create a virtual tennis club for those people. So now the tennis instructor, the leader, he can create a mini club, a virtual club, and have the players play amongst themselves. He sets up the leagues, he sets the ladders, and now he's also making money while he's not on the court. So that's one of the aspects of it as well.
And the work community is very important, and you are using your app is very important, and it will be very important because I think we are so behind if you compare other industry in terms of service, in terms of customer culture. That's why it's very important that you are, all the possibility that you are bringing with your TennisAppSuite. Let me ask you how coaches and players can use more and improve not only performance, or also the organization on results with your app.
So I would throw the question back at you. How does a player actually improve performance?
Yeah, usually having a lesson and without to know anything about numbers, about possibility that to develop a better play.
But at the end of the day, he has to play matches.
Yeah,
he has to absolutely play matches, right? In my own head, after I take a lesson, I feel like I'm ready for Wimbledon tomorrow, okay? In my own mind. And then I go play. And that's where my performance is really, really, displayed for the world to see. Anyway, and so my belief is that players improve performance playing, okay? And repetitive match playing is where this software contributes to tennis. Again, like I said earlier, if you're a tennis player that you currently you don't see, maybe your neighbor plays tennis about your level, but you don't see them, you don't know that they are there, right? So what we're doing is we're opening the eyes, okay, with technology that is back to the future, because internally our software is very complex, but externally is just a couple of clicks, and you're now looking at a group of people in your barrio, in your neighborhood, in your city, in your country. And if you travel to other countries, you're a member of the global virtual tennis club. You find people in other countries, both at your level and with your time availability. Those are the two key factors, right? Now you can ask people to play without too much problem. So at the end of the day, we're increasing dramatically the number of people playing the number of matches that are possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a very important synergetic spiral, which means participate, learn, compete, learn again, and be participating. It's like always. It's like that's the way to grow. Like perfectly. You have to in tennis. You have to compete to learn. You have to compete. It's like a study without to make evaluations.
And then for coaches, because I think you mentioned what how do we improve performance and how do we improve the life of coaches. Again, what TennisAppSuite does, what this software does, it multiplies the capability of a coach. Currently, a coach can only teach when his or her students are on the court with them, right? Now, this coach can multiply themselves by creating ladders, by creating leagues, by creating tournaments amongst. I was just talking to a coach in Southern California. He has about 200 people that in his group. He has 2 other coaches that work with him, and together they work very hard. They make decent money. But again, he said the only time we make money is when we've got the people on the court. So when he heard that he could now set up his students in a virtual club and have them play amongst themselves, he said, when can you bring this? When can you bring this to me? And that's our contribution to the coaching world as well.
Yeah, definitely will be very good. Can you show me some numbers to understand more of the process? Do you have a?
I
know that you have some numbers to share with people. That's why I ask you, because it could be very good for understand. They can understand more all the function, all the benefits of TennisAppSuite.
I have a little spreadsheet model that I will share with you. Give me a second here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm going to share screen because the numbers sometimes speak more for themselves. Where are we? Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this would be what we call the model of a self-running tennis ladder. In this case, we've got 80 players, 80 people that participate in the ladder. It's managed by a coach. This coach will spend 15 to 25 minutes setting up the app in TennisAppSuite, right? So he goes in, sets up the ladder, and now he decides he's going to charge $8 per challenge. Why? Because there's work behind and after the challenge, and we want people to appreciate what they're doing. He can do it for free, right? They can do it for free, or he can say he's going to charge $5, right? $5. He requires people to play, to challenge up once and to be challenged once. So everyone has to play 2 matches in a period of a month or 2 months, whatever they set the period of time they want to set that up. During that period of time, he's now making in $800. Would that be a month or every couple of months, right? This is money that they do not see right now. It does not exist, right? So TennisAppSuite acts as a payment processor. We take a little commission on that, and that's how we make a living, right? Now, separate from that, okay, a very important thing is if the coach is a little bit enterprising, he goes to the local car dealer to the local restaurant and says, hey, I can put your name, your ad at the bottom, okay, of the screens for my ladder. And I can actually name the ladder, you know, Good Food or Us. All right, that's the name of the restaurant. That will be the name of the league. So they can make money from the activity of the players and from sponsors. And if you want to carry it a little bit more, here's an example of a self-running league. Why do we say self-running? It's not self-organizing. That's why we need a coach to organize, do the initial settings on the app, right? The initial round is set up by the coach, right? But once the first round has been played, the app runs the show, runs the league, assigns players, assigns courts to the next round. It keeps track of the scoring. It reports the scoring. So basically now the coach or the league director, they can spend more time working and socializing and stimulating the players, right? So here's a quick example of a league where charge $50 for signing up. Most of the leagues that I've been playing are like $70, $75. In other countries that could be less. So this is so that every coach can set up their own prices. They play 4 times a year, 2 divisions, right? They have only 8 courts available, so a total of 32 players. So that creates a $12,800 revenue stream for a year, with very little upfront work. Okay, and so this is why we say we want to multiply the capability of the coaches. Plus, they can also sell sponsorship for the league. Okay, aren't you glad you asked me?
It's very important, because talking about what Craig Tyler said, and you did mention about it, retention is one of the weaknesses in tennis since many years ago. But in terms of the people, one aspect which is very important, and of course your app is bringing solution for coaches and clubs and different organizations, is to create an environment that people can play, compete, because one of the key aspects is to play the game, that people can play all the day. I used to say to everybody, if the courts are empty, we are losing money.
Exactly.
And one thing which is very important with the app, that people can resolve, even though can resolve different times of the day, different times of the weekends, to use the app and to compete to resolve that. This is a very, very open resource with many possibilities. Talking about this, how every club, every organization could be benefits to use TennisAppSuite beside the numbers, like you say, for coaches now?
Well, I think that fundamentally, that participation is the issue, right? So here you have a piece of software that is now going to be in the phone of everybody, right? This is how every day we're checking our schedule or what time it is. I don't even have a watch anymore. I just check time here. I go to the court with this and I do things with it. So basically, it's a matter of increasing participation, which increases revenue, right? And now, because we're talking about a piece of software that is going to transform tennis, it needed to be a global citizen. So this is available immediately in English and Spanish, and it's designed from the ground up to be available in any language. So in a matter of weeks, we can have a German version, Italian, Japanese, whatever language you need it can be converted very rapidly. It's not a computing or software problem. it's a linguistic translation because we have an engine that picks up the foreign language version and puts it into the app, right? So it's multilingual. The other aspect of it is that it's an integrated software suite. Okay, what does that mean? It means that when I go do when I challenge somebody to a ladder match, right? A challenge match, I immediately need a court reservation. Okay, so the ladder module is integrated with the court reservation module in such a way that I don't need to go somewhere else to some other app or some other function to do the two things. Furthermore, it acts as the cash register. So it handles all the money collection. We partner with Stripe, which is a global payment processing platform. So it's the top quality service that can be provided in the whole area of acting as a point of sale device. So, like I said, it's integrated in the sense that once you get information into the app, it permeates all the other functionalities that are the result of that. Once a match is completed, because you keep the score on the app, it projects the results to the tournament results, to the league results, to the statistics, etc. That's what it means by being an integrated piece of software, and that it is multilingual. We probably don't have enough time to get into the specifics of each one of the modules. I am mentioning as we go, and obviously when somebody needs more information, we'd be happy to provide it more detail.
Yeah, sure. And it's we need in tennis to jump forward, to create a better environment, to use technology. What do you think how tennis industry could benefit with the sport technology like yours, like others? Because we need to, to move our sport for a better results.
So you probably have heard more than me of the up and coming intelligent court. Mm-hmm. There is all kinds of technology being applied. Hawkeye was just the beginning of that. Okay, we're going to have smart lines, smart courts. There's all kinds of devices that are now used for the performance improvement. So, for example, there's a couple of companies that are already selling digital scoreboards. Okay. We are working with two of them to have our scoreboard, when the player enters the score in the app, it will be reflected on the digital scoreboard as well. Okay, so we have a community of technology that if we collaborate with one another, as we could and we should, then who wins? Tennis.
Yeah,
the young people of this world will think of tennis as what it is. It's a lifetime beautiful thing to do.
I think let me ask you, Cesar. People can buy also the app. Not only coaches, clubs, or how they can buy the app.
I love that question because I love the answer. This app is for tennis players and tennis providers. The tennis players will never pay a penny for the use of the app. Okay? As the tennis providers will share some of their income, 2%, 3%, 10% for certain things, and depending on the country, those percentages are more modest, right? So that's how that functions, right? Players will be able to download the app to their phones. Upon downloading the app, and when the player sets their profile, They are now members of the Universal TennisAppSuite Virtual Tennis Club. That's a long title. But what it means is, for example, Fernando, when you load the app in your phone, right? You gravitate between Mexico, Miami, and other places. It means that GPS will recognize where you are. And so you're going Miami, and now you're all the services of the clubs that you work with or the people that you play with available to you right there, and then by GPS, right? So, but once you're a member of the Universal Virtual Tennis Club, it means that you can join your local tennis club, your private tennis club. You can be a part of Fernando Segal's Teaching Academy Virtual Tennis Club, right? So it is all organic. Okay, it's all organic.
It's very good, very good. It's part of a universal tennis revolution that we need to do. It's
Yes,
like,
sir.
you know,
Yes, sir.
it's a very interesting thing because not only you did the software and also the TennisAppSuite, also you did work, and is your intention also in the future to work a lot in charity, you know, projects to help people through tennis, you know, to help different kind of ages, gender of the population. What do you are thinking about it?
I am thinking about a lot of things. One of the things that I love about tennis is that I grew up playing football, soccer, right? Probably like you. And the reason I love soccer is because it was available to me. As a child, I had a ball. And when I didn't have one, somebody in my neighborhood had a ball, and somebody played soccer with me anytime almost. Okay, that is what I want to see with tennis. There's no reason why it should not. You know, rackets have become less and less expensive, really, and there's a lot of recyclable rackets that need to be recycled. There's a lot of balls that need to be put to use elsewhere, nets, you name it. So I have been blessed with tennis in many, many ways. To me, tennis in many ways has saved my life because my health is so much better. I probably am still around because I survived several health scaries times. And my doctor said, I'm glad that you play tennis because your cardiovascular system is in very good shape, right? So, and as I mentioned to you earlier, just this morning, I played my regular Monday morning foursome with Henry Mealy. Henry is 95 years old.
Good.
Watch out. Don't get the ball near him. He will put it away with a firm, flat forehand, backhand. He will put you to shame. And he gets to balls that nobody thinks he's going to. He's 95 years old. And you know what he does? You'll love this. In between games, he sits down and he brings out his little notebook. He's making notes to remember next time what to do and what not to do.
Very good.
He is still trying to improve his game.
Very good.
So I say to Henry, you're my idol. You're my model. And when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Yeah. Very good. Very
So,
good.
but let me tell you, can I show you a couple of graphics?
Yes, please.
If I may, because this is a subject that is really dear to my heart. So let me just show you quickly something that will help us with this conversation. So, Tennis for Humanity. Do you see my screen all right?
Yeah, please.
Tennis for Humanity is the foundation that will be performing multiple services, including scholarships for young high school students that play tennis and are good students to come to the US, to Europe, to do their final year of high school. We'll have scholarships for college. Okay, we will have. You've heard of the program called Doctors Without Borders.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have tennis coaches without borders, and what it is the foundation is going to sponsor a coach to go to another country for an assignment of a month, 2 months, 6 months, depending on the situation, to be the leader, the coach in that community, right? And we're going to pay the expenses, we're going to pay the stipend and the travel necessary for that. And then another piece of the program is we're going to create sister tennis communities. That's similar to the sister city concept. I don't invent anything. I just transform ideas. So your tennis club in Miami, okay, will adopt a tennis community in Guatemala or in Tanzania. Okay. And what that means is that every so many days or weeks or months, you're going to collect resources, rackets, balls, to send to your sister tennis community, right? Every now and then, if you have enough resources, you bring some of those sister communities to you. So I mentioned Henry Neely. Here's a picture of us another day. Look at my friend Carlos Lopez in Havana. He is one of my heroes. He gets any kind of a rope, hangs something there, and look at the joy of the children. Okay, so this is where the foundation is going to go. There's plenty of opportunity all around. Tennis communities that are affluent, tennis communities that are underserved and being developed. Let's bring them together and let's have fun with tennis at the same time.
That's the meaning of tennis, no? To connect people through tennis. Let me ask you, because you are an innovator, this disruptor, no? Let me ask you a tough question. Why tennis organizations are so close in many ways, to change, to create transformation, to jump forward, not only to use technology, is to bring innovation systematically. What do you think about it?
Is the question why large government tennis organizations that are governing and leaders of the world, why they don't bring the innovation? I'm going to answer that question with my personal experience in the computing world. Okay. Do you think that Apple would exist if IBM had been the innovator and done the things that Steve Jobs did?
No, for sure.
It would not exist. IBM had the world of computing by the,
those times, yeah.
No, and those times. And Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, okay, the only operating system, to be a little bit technical, that existed when Bill Gates began to write DOS was the disk operating system of IBM. They had already invented the wheel. They just had to think and project themselves into a new world. Okay, why didn't they do that? That's a better question for smarter minds and psychology than mine. But at the end of the day, I think that people large organizations tend to grow comfortable with the status quo. Okay. Whereas the people that, like us, are suffering day to day the lack of initiative, the lack of solutions. This is what happened to me. I mean, I had the sponsorship of USDA, etc., but they didn't have any software resources, and they were not even thinking about investing on that. So it was left up to the individual, the innovator that feels the pain and decides to make a change. And also circumstances in life sometimes permit you, sometimes they do not. I stopped traveling around the world just in time to devote myself to this, and I'm having the time of my life.
That's very, very interesting approach that you did mention, because technology companies, they used to have a tennis innovation department systematically working to improve. Probably, like you say, the large one, needs small ones to change and to create competition, let's say, on the market, and to bring new ideas. I think that was the spirit of Winfield when he created, lawn tennis, creating something new. Let me ask you, because you play tennis, you follow all the circuit, and you follow how tennis is growing around the globe, and also you are developing your app. How do you see the future of tennis?
I see nothing but excitement. I see growth. I see little children around the world, like I said before, little children around the world playing tennis just as much and with just as much joy as I grew up playing soccer, football, right? Tennis is a lifetime sport. Unlike soccer, I had to stop playing soccer, football, when I was like 41, 42, all right? My body did not permit me to play more, period. End of story. I continued to play tennis, and I will hopefully be playing tennis 10, 15 years from now. So, however, having said that, we in the world of tennis need to get our act together. And I have nothing but admiration and respect for you and your team to have taken upon yourselves this enormous project. It reminds me of what happened in the 80s. This is when the PC, the personal computer, was beginning to show up in the world, saying, hey, I am here. And where the big computer companies said, get out of here, you're not serious computing. In the 80s, somebody made a lot of money with computer expos, mostly in Las Vegas. And all of us little computing people would come there and pay a lot of money to be there and to stay in expensive hotels and check out, go from one booth to the other. And these things were 3-4 blocks. They were huge. And what came out of there? The Microsofts, the Apples, the HPs, the Acers of the world, they came out of that, right? And that's our present computing world is what it is because of all those pioneers and all that struggle, the sorting out of the market that took place then. I believe that 10 years from now, you and some of us that hopefully are still around will have a cup of tea or good mate from Argentina and look at this as the beginning of the new tennis world.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's give me the chance to make to you, because the last question, because TVD is an innovation on itself. How do you feel to be part, like a speaker, like, with your presentation, with your innovation, like company as well, to be with other innovators, leaders, creators from all over the world, working all together to have a better energy, a better momentum to develop our sport, creating growth. How are you feeling about it?
I feel very privileged, and I feel that I am just a part of the TennisAppSuite team. We have people in Ireland, in Venezuela, yes, in Venezuela, in Spain, in Panama, in Colombia, Mexico, and the United States. We are a remote managed organization. It's amazing. Everyone in the team is working because they love TennisAppSuite. And they're hoping to make some good money someday, and they probably will. And I'm pretty sure they will. But it's a labor of love. It's a labor of making use of modern 2021 computing communication capabilities. Look at this meeting that we're having. Unthinkable 5 years ago. Unthinkable. I mean, you would have had to hire a big hotel and bring a lot of people and a lot of fuel consumed in jet flights and what have you. So I feel very privileged on behalf of all of my team, and I feel once again I have that taste in my heart that I'm being part of something like I was in the 80s. Okay, and once again, I think that you as a creator and you and your team should be very, very proud, because we all feel very privileged for being a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Cesar. In the name of Tennis One, the TVD Talk was a wonderful experience to have you all in this episode, and keep working hard to develop a better tennis. Thank you very much.
Sure will. Thank you so much, Fernando. Que estés bien. Bye-bye.